Hi, this is Chibi Fangirl. I fangirl over and you just listen. This is a update video to the last update video. I am getting my new computer this week. I finally convinced my grandparents that I really desperately need one. It would be good for my portfolio, and it's not only my film programs that aren't working, it's also my other programs are something as simple as my web browser or Microsoft Word, because I know I've had problems where if I just click out of Microsoft Word for 10 minutes just to look something up, and I click back into Microsoft Word, it just automatically shuts down. And it's like, nope, I don't feel like working. So I finally convinced them to do that. We're getting a new computer sometime this week. It's going to be a Mac, and I think it's going to be a little different model than I have right now. I just have a basic MacBook at the moment. I think I'm just getting a one with Retina display. I could be wrong, though. I need to talk to some people in order to get some opinions. But I'm actually here to also talk about something to do in the meantime. Since the podcast is not going on, and since there's lots of articles of discussion that I'd like to discuss, then, I want to start a debate show, unscripted debate show. It's just me talking about my beliefs in film without being interrupted. I mean, yes, the podcast is a good debate place, but I felt that here I wouldn't be as interrupted as frequently as I would be in the podcast, just because it's a very particular question that you really cannot have short answers to, and I meant to put this in my Sandler Hell episode, the first one, and I just couldn't get around to doing it because I just kept being interrupted by the gonk, and I could not explain my thesis to the problem. And so this will be kind of a debate show, unscripted, unedited, completely my thoughts. So if you hate me stuttering, I am very sorry. I'm trying to get used to it. I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I'm getting better at it, so it's not as bad. So the topic of discussion is what makes a sexy character. And I had this discussion with a few people, and then basically, how this conversation started, yesterday I stocked up on some Catwoman comics. And, they're very risque pictures, if you know what I'm talking about. If you're a comic geek, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And, I had someone say, as a feminist, these aren't very, female empowering pictures. And I was trying to explain to him that, sex sells. And the thing about superheroes, you can't have an average blah costume. You cannot wear t-shirt and jeans that makes you a superhero, because no one's going to remember that character. It's like, okay, for example, if Superman always wore jeans and a t-shirt, would you remember him? Probably not. But the thing about Catwoman, I don't remember who was the author. Hopefully it's not Frank Miller. I hope it's not Frank Miller. But, I only got it because I was an avid Catwoman fan, not for sexual appeal. I was only getting it as a comic book fan, and I'd like to frame some of those someday. It's just I gotta find a frame for some of them. I also got a Black Canary one, too, that also got some negative feedback on the costume. And the thing about men are the same thing. They wear these skin-tight outfits, and that could be considered sexual as well. So, therefore, that's a double standard. If women cannot be seductive, why can't men, So, I just felt that was a little unfair. I mean, sex sells. And, there are two types of people in the world. Those who want to enjoy something for their own pleasure, not sexual-wise, and then there's those who want it for sexual-wise. And I know I had this problem when Nostalgia Critic was reviewing Sailor Moon, because when I was watching Sailor Moon, I did not view it as a sexual being, because, even as a straight female, I could pick out certain things as an adult, but back then, it's okay, yeah, they're wearing short skirts, so what? But, even now, I'm okay, so what's your point? I mean, Japan has their own standards, yes, but however, it's kind of the same thing, sex sells, and you wouldn't want a boring, blah costume. I mean, the costume makes you look interesting, it gives you personality, and I had this also another discussion. It's clothing describes who your personality is, And though it's not true with everybody, because I know certain people can afford certain clothes, but I'm talking about like the middle class and high class over here. For example, if you wear t-shirts and hoodies, you're pretty laid back, you're comfortable, you don't care what anybody thinks. However, if you like fashionable, high maintenance clothing, you're probably a little more impatient, probably really classy. I'm trying to think of positive words as well. Basically, you're just really high maintenance, and there's nothing wrong with being high maintenance. I'm high maintenance of myself. I try to wear normal clothing in my show, but like I have like a bunch of fashionable stuff as well, and it's just like clothing really describes a person. And when it comes to superheroes or anime characters, they're the same thing to me. But like you have to make them interesting in some sense. You can't like have Sailor Moon just wearing a t-shirt and jeans because no one's gonna remember her. Sure, we can remember her by her hairstyle, but it's like, well, what does she wear? Well, like same thing that everyone else wears, you know? And you want to make your character interesting. Now, I also had another conversation, what makes a character sexy? Just sexual appeal or personality? And I came up with a chart, okay, describing different forms of sexy. Like, the movie Sucker Punch, one of my favorite movies of all time, besides Mean Girls and Catching Fire, it has such negative press because the girls are too sexy. And I'm like, thinking, there's a plot behind it. These girls are prostitutes. They are forced to make made sexy, not by choice. And so, like, there's other forms of sexy that didn't get negative reputation. So I created a chart right here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I would have made it in MS Paint. But unfortunately, I don't have any editing software at the moment. So I'm going to explain the chart one by one of how I did it, and hopefully the camera catches it correctly, because I don't have a high-res camera. So here's my explanation of different forms of what sexy is. So hold on one second, I gotta take a drink. This is cranberry juice, by the way. So. Alright, so what I put on this chart right here. Oh, sorry. There's personality sexy. Eye candy sexy. Both. And trying way too hard and ain't working category. And I'm going to start from the trying too hard category. And then I want to try one male and one female example, just because I didn't want to get, that's a double standard, you know? So, I'm going to explain the trying too hard. Trying too hard is kind of like, you want to get a reaction out of somebody. You want to try to be sexy, but in reality, it'd be look gross, disgusting, disturbing, any other word you can think of it. It's not sexy. It's disgusting. And, or it could be sleazy in some cases. And unfortunately, I chose two really bad examples. Both of them who I admire as a person, but kind of fails at being sexy. My female example was Miley Cyrus, just because of her VMA experience. I was talking to someone a long time ago about her VMA performance, and I understand why she did it. I don't like it, but I understand why she did it. I think it's perfectly natural for her to do that. Because for the VMAs, you have to have a good performance, and he was trying to explain to me. And I'm like, I get that. And, like, she wasn't trying to get the reaction she got, but she was trying to be sexy, and that's what you're trying to do for the VMAs, impress everybody, try to be sexy, because that's what media is, really. But even in today's standards, like Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball, I think it tries a little too hard. I think it would have been better if she had just worn regular clothing. Or, like, better lingerie. Because the one she chose kind of looks like a mess. And as much as I like Miley, I think she's really trying too hard as an adult to be sexy. And she's just kind of getting negative press, and I kind of feel really bad for putting her on this list and having so many people criticize her because how weird she is today. And, like, I can understand that, but I can also give her some credit. She's trying. My male example, on the other hand, he's known for making critically bombed movies. He's one of my favorite actors, but almost a majority of Adam Sandler characters are trying too hard to be the sex figure. Let's face it, he's not pretty at all. He kind of comes off very sleazy in some of his movies, such as Billy Madison, Grown Ups. As much as I love Grown Ups, he kind of comes off sleazy in some senses. I'm trying to think. Little Nicky, Waterboy. Just like, he comes off such a sleazy character. And sleazy is not sexy at all. It's creepy. It doesn't get the reaction it wanted. So that's my examples of trying too hard. The next category I'm going to talk about is personality sexy, where, like, the character doesn't base him or herself off of looks. They are sexy by their own nature, but this is all personal opinion. If you disagree with me, go ahead. But these are my two examples of what personality sexy is. These are either people who cannot afford fashionable clothing, choose not to be sexy, that's not their character. It's all based on personality, what makes them sexy. My female example is my girl crush, Katniss Everdeen. Like, if you didn't know me, if I were to go lesbian, I would go lesbian for Katniss. Just because how amazingly powerful this character is. Not just combat-wise, but personality-wise. Just because, like, she knows she cannot do anything about the Capitol, but is willing to try something to go against them. She's gathering all these people up together. She may seem vulnerable, but she doesn't want to be vulnerable anymore. She's trying hard to cause all this rebellion start. She doesn't want the Hunger Games to continue. She's doing the best she can to get everything out of the Capitol's hands. And I really admire that in the character because she represents the female feminist icon of this year, probably. And to this day, we don't have too many female empowering movies. There wasn't a lot to begin with, but there's some here and there. And Katniss is really one of them. And since Hunger Games is really popular, even with critics' standards, she comes off as an awesome feminist icon. My male icon, he's not very popular, but if you're like me and that guy with the glasses cult, I chose Linkara because he's a very opinionated person, and I admire that in a person, but he's not degrading in a sense. If you've never seen A Top the Fourth Wall before, he also has a storyline as well as reviewing comics. He's an amazing person. I do have an ultimate crush on him. But here's why I put him on the personality sexy list. The people on that guy with the glasses aren't A-list celebrities, I can tell you that. They don't have hairstylists, they don't have makeup artists. They're just people sitting at home filming videos like I am right now, except better edited. I admire what he does as a profession. He made me who I am today, and to make a person sexy, you have to inspire... Personality sexy, what I mean. You have to inspire someone to do something and, like, really go for it. They have to be a role model, and that's what I consider sexy. His character is amazing. He's very heroic, even though he doesn't think he is. It's really... I recommend you watch it if you're looking for good icons. He's also the one who made me a feminist today. So the next category over here is eye candy sexy. And obviously, you guys know what eye candy sexy means. However, this is for, like, characters who look nice but don't have the best of character-wise. And it was very hard for me to choose one character and stick to that one character without degrading them as much as possible. And one of my favorite characters is on that list. But, let's start with the females again. I chose almost any female from Glee just because Glee is messed up to begin with. It started nice. I understood where it was coming from until season 3 rolled around, where everybody cheats on each other. Just everyone cheats. Like, oh, you're going out with Artie? Well, me too. Or, weren't you dating Finn? Nope, not anymore. But like, everyone there is just like a mess. They're only there for sexual appeal. That's what I feel like Glee is now. Before, it was like, oh, stand up against all the in crowd. We're the outsiders. Be proud of yourself. Here it's like, well, go flirt with everyone. Hopefully you'll get laid. And I'm like, well, that's not a good message. I mean, I wanted to put almost all the characters in there, but I wanted to reserve the male slot just for one specific character. But the main character I put for the female is Santana, because she flirts with everyone despite her sexuality. Because I watched seasons 1 through half of 3, and I remember Santana saying she was a lesbian for Brittany. And the thing is, Santana flirts with everyone, backstabs everyone. She's not a very strong character because we don't know what her motives is. I mean, she's betraying everybody, and then she comes back, oh, I'm hurt. Really? She's a pain in the butt to deal with. I was gonna also put Rachel there, but then again, Rachel's too innocent to be considered eye candy. But like, Santana has a lot of press with the male viewers, so I decided to put her as the representative of the female viewers. And there is one character I do. Okay, there's 2 characters I like from Glee, which are Mercedes and Kurt, only because when I did watch the show, they were stable. They didn't change much in a way I didn't like them. I mean, Kurt got more enveloped in his own personality rather than others telling him what to do. He wasn't insecure like he used to be. And Mercedes, she stood up for what she believed in, and I think she's a feminist icon, though I think Glee's just pushing that away. It's like, oh, we don't like feminists. We have to talk all about the sexy things. So, that's how I chose. The male example, I am really ashamed of myself. Like, he is, like, on my top 10 hottest fictional guys list. But I chose Adrian from Little Nicky as my eye candy sexy choice. He is a good villain. However, he just seems very selfish. And like, I really had a hard time choosing the male. It was between him and Edward Cullen. But the thing about Edward Cullen is Twilight's flawed to begin with. And we already had one fandom that was flawed to begin with, which is Glee. So, and then again, it's just really all the cast of Twilight, so the thing about Adrian is he's very selfish, and as much as I admire his looks, I would not date him if he was a real person. As much as I joke about it, I would not date him in real life, just because he's very selfish, really self-centered. Like, his real motive is to take over the world. That's not very good villainy. Only because he wanted the throne. So, yeah, he's more eye candy rather than a character. I was also gonna put this other character on the list, Usagi or Serena from Sailor Moon. She is considered the eye candy sexy type, and mostly in the manga standards, but also in the anime standards as well, because Serena has, I'm gonna call her Serena just because I grew up with the English version. Serena has real no motive to life. Honestly, she hates being a Sailor Scout. She's only doing this because it's her destiny. She never liked Darien until she found out he was Tuxedo Mask. That's being conceited. It's like, oh, well, I like your alter ego, but I don't like you. And it's like, oh, well, I'm randomly in love with you now that you're Tuxedo Mask. And, like, I consider her really stupid. And not only that, it's worse in the manga. I mean, as much as I love the manga over the anime, oh my god, their relationship is much, much worse. In the anime, it's all cheesy lovey-dovey stuff, like, things you would see everyday couples doing, and it's like, oh wow, they're weird. Here, not only is he lovey-dovey, but when they're alone, Serena tries to get into Darian's pants all the time. That's not a strong character. A strong character does not always crave sex as her living. She has other motives. If she has eye candy, that's fine. I have no problem with that. However, if you want a strong character, not based on only looks, then you would have to, like, not only crave sex all the time, because that's just giving in to men and giving men a bad name as well as women. So they're saying women are vulnerable and men are animals, and that's not really what we want to tell the viewers. And if you believe that, I pity you. But I honestly think Serena is a very weak character. She is considered eye candy because really that's all that she wants. And she's really popular with the male fan base, obviously. I just feel that in order to make a strong character, she cannot be like that. She has to have some other motive. And like, the manga is a whole different story, but I can go into rants about how I hate this character with all the power in the world. Like, I hate this character. But that's another rant for another day. And I'd like to talk about the last character, which is both eye candy and what's it called? Personality sexy. Honestly, this is just like eye candy mixed with a strong personality. This character doesn't focus on sex at all. Well, if it's part of the story, then that's fine. But like, little things, that's not okay. Like, someone like Serena, that's a no-no. But like, the characters I chose are Baby Doll from Sucker Punch and Finnick from Hunger Games. They're both strong in personality and have a nice appearance to them. The thing about Sucker Punch, it has such negative ratings, all because the girls look nice. And that is really flawed because Baby Doll was forced into prostitution, not a sexy job at all. She is forced to be this way. She has no choice. Although I admire her backstory, well, like, I don't support prostitution in any way, but like, the outfit she wears is considered sexy, yes. Her appearance is really nice, but she also has a really strong character, despite her not liking the outfit. Same thing with Katniss. Katniss wears the wedding dress, and she probably doesn't care as much for it as the audience in the Capitol does. Yeah, but that's how I think Baby Doll's a strong character. She leads a rebellion, just like how Katniss does. She wants to lead the other girls to freedom, and she does. So, I think that's a pretty strong character. And Finnick is really selfless. All pretty appearance aside, like, he is very selfless. Like, I admire his character. I was like, because when I saw the movie, I'm like, oh wow, he's pretty. I'm like, well, he probably has no brain. And reading the book and then watching them, I watched the movie first, remember, and then I read the book. And like, he cares for others. He may have that playboy personality, but he still cares for others. He may tease them, but that's also his personality. He still likes them. He still protects Katniss, even though he flirts with her all the time. That's just his character, and like, he tries to save Peeta for her. He's trying to help lead this rebellion, and that's an amazing personality. Like, I mean, that's my opinion. You guys don't have to agree with me. You guys can have your own opinion, but this is my considered sexy list. If you have your own ideas, you can also list them in the comments down below. But, yeah, that's my main idea of what sexy is. And I didn't, for the appearance or both, I did not include any superheroes just because with comics, anybody can own the character. If I went into DC right now, I can own Birds of Prey, I can own Catwoman, I can own Superman, because basically DC has so many different titles by so many different authors that there's no one complete storyline, so I could not add any comic book characters unless they were manga or anime characters, but like, DC and Marvel characters were off limits for all of them, because Gail Simone compared to Frank Miller is a genius. There's also really bad writers and really good writers, so really comics have no one thing continuity. So I could not add any of those characters to the list. There was also another character I wanted to add to Eye Candy, which is Little Kariba's version of Taya, because she's brainless and only for eye candy, and that's really made a joke. And I get the joke there. I mean, I find her really funny, though, like, story-wise, it doesn't work. And then the next thing I want to talk about is, having a strong character, but telling a really bad story, or story not doing well because of the strong character. Going back to the Sailor Hell episode, I had said that I did not like the scene between the teacher and Billy just because I felt it was rushed. And some people did agree with me there, but however, like, we never see her lower her standards to him. He's very sleazy of a guy. There's basically no relationship to them. And like, Billy Madison has mixed reviews. A lot of Adam Sandler movies, he either have negative or mixed reviews. And the thing about that one scene, it really bothers me. The teacher was a nice, strong character, but then she turned into eye candy once, like, that party scene rolled around, and it's like, well, that's bad storytelling. If the movie were longer, or if that scene never happened, it would make a better movie. But if you're into that, that's fine. But if you're looking for a good story, that's not how it works. So that's my sexy list. I want to see what yours list is, either personality or eye candy or both or neither. I'm curious to see what your beliefs are, what considered sexy is. Mine, personality-wise, I like someone who's very strong-hearted. They do what they do. They're either a role model or someone we aspire to be. Someone like Katniss or Lynn Carr for me. Obviously, I'm a person who loves comedy, so that's another point for Lynn Carr right there. I guess, like, they don't care what others think. That's another good trait that I like. So they're like, hey, if people tell them, like, they shouldn't dress that way, then it's like, well, I don't care. It's my body. I'll do whatever I want with it. Then that's awesome for them. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys list are. And, the Labyrinth episode is on its way. I'm having Cody edit most of it, but I'm pretty sure it won't be here until next week, along with one of my Valentine's Day episodes, and that will be like a weekly basis. The problem is, I start a new class today, and I don't get home until like around 5. So like the sun already goes down, and I only have a few hours to shoot. And the problem is, when I do shoot at this hour, you're gonna see a glare in my glasses like you do now, and there's no way of fixing it. Unless I have like another computer to use a teleprompter, but right now I don't get that until sometime later this week. But, yeah, hopefully you'll see the Labyrinth episode sometime next weekend. I have planned it because Cody's still working on it, as I'm cheering on the sidelines. And hopefully I'll try to figure out Final Cut on the new computer and not have to struggle with it here, because I deleted it from this computer because I was so fed up and I didn't want to deal with it. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll give it another chance since I'm with a new computer. So, yeah, that's it for this video. So write in the comments what you think, and I'll look at them and probably put them in the next debate discussion if I can think of another one. Alright, bye.